Andrew, we've had a couple of conversations here recently on this idea of the resident experience, right? Like the theme of the show is this landlord becoming an endangered species. How did you and your company, Second Nature, start to really dial in on the need to have that conversation and insert it into the lexicon of property managers everywhere?
Yeah, well, almost the language you guys were talking about at the beginning of like, hey, landlord and tenant, it really does sound like a anachronism. It's like of a antiquated kind of feudal time and relationship almost, right? And sometimes bringing new language to things helps people take a new point of view or perspective, right, on something that seems familiar at first, see it in a new way. And when people see things in a new way, they can act on them in a different way. And when they can act on them in a different way, right, that can lead to different results, right, different outcomes. So yeah, we thought intentionally about, hey, not calling folks tenants, right, but residents. And it's a little elevating, right, kind of association there. And we really think about what I've got lit up in neon right back here, which is how crucial the resident is in creating what we call triple win experiences in rental management. And for too long, there's just been a lot of friction between landlords and tenants, right? Or between property managers as they came in the game and property owners and residents as well. And we started saying, okay, all of those moments of friction and where things aren't going right, or when something happens to somebody else, right, at their expense, if that's good for somebody else, that's misaligned. How do we create a more aligned future of housing where, hey, when residents win, the property owner wins and the property manager wins, and we can turn that flywheel over and over again. And there's a lot of those kind of opportunities. I feel like we're still early on in turning those problems into triple win experiences, but there's a lot of success and a lot of momentum here over the last few years that, we're wanting to push forward, and great companies like JWB and some of the professional property management companies are really leading the way in kind of taking a new approach to things in a way that benefits everyone. And that's the future that we believe in. That's a future we want to build and be a part of. So that's what we're up to.
We talk a lot about aligned incentives on the show, and it's not, I don't know if you remember, Andrew, but I think you and I met on LinkedIn. I was immediately like, I got to introduce you to JWB, right? Because it's just
Yes.
it's a very kind of like aligned thinking. Gee, how do you think about the thinking of resident experience? When you guys started this thing 18 years ago, as 24-year-old half-road Gregg Cohen, was that your thinking? Like, when did it start becoming important to you guys understanding this idea of like a triple win?
I think when Andrew communicates, I always have a pen handy.
So
I'm always writing stuff down.
Yeah.
And because he's so eloquent in maybe the challenges of this space. And so what I even wrote down here, I wrote down more aligned future of housing. Like, what a great concept here, right? Andrew, I wanted to share with you too, buddy. We have taken quotes straight from Andrew Smallwood and used those as quotes in our team meetings just to talk about the vision. And it's great to hear it, not just from inside these walls, but from other industry experts and leaders who communicate about the same thing. So it's wonderful to have Andrew here and for everybody to understand that this can be an experience where you can win as an investor and the person on the other end of the transaction can win as well, maybe even more than you over the long haul as well. And so this is a new developing way of thinking. But where it started for us back in the day, 18 years ago, is just this simple concept that, when I was walking down the street and talking with friends or family or whoever about this crazy idea I had about starting a company, helping people buy rental properties, people would always get excited about the idea of making money through real estate. I never had to convince anybody that this was a great investment from the idea of making money. But just as excited they were about owning real estate and doing it passively, they were also so convinced that there would be a friction-based relationship with the tenant. They were just convinced that would happen. And because of that friction, they believed that it would be a poor investing experience. And that's what has kept so many people from this space. So we just kind of re-engineered the problem and said, well, listen, if people already understand that this is a great way to make money, build a better retirement account, be the foundation of your financial future, we said we don't have to really fix that problem. We just have to let it be what it is. We have to fix the client investing experience. And the best way to fix the client investing experience is to have a wonderful resident relationship. So that's why this whole vertically integrated process came to be at JWB. It was about working backwards for the problem. And if we could have great resident relationships, it would make it a better investing relationship for our clients. And ultimately, that was the hardest thing to overcome. Once we have been able to show people the light, that's possible. The opportunity to make money takes care of itself in real estate.
And by the way, Greg, I feel like every now and again I check out JWB's website. We're looking for little nuggets and sound bites too from you guys. We appreciate Stealing with Pride over here as well. You know, something that's like kind of funny to think about is if you think about the last couple decades as a consumer, there's tons of companies that are winning on experience and how much innovation is happening, right, for consumers as it relates to their experience. It's like, it's incredible. I mean, there was a time where to get from point A to point B, you had to wait on a curb for 20 minutes, like waving your hand like a crazy person and whistling and doing all kinds of things. And like now it's 3 taps on your phone to get anywhere you want to go in a matter of a few minutes, right? To get your groceries arriving at your house, right? To find whatever information that you're looking for. It's not even behind 10 blue links anymore, right? It's right on the other side of some conversational UI. And so thinking about how all of these problems for consumers have been, you know, made incredibly convenient. There's been a ton of innovation and personalization that's been happening outside of the home. It's a question of, okay, what about the experiences inside the home? And one of the ahas for us is, I mean, a third of somebody's income in many cases is going to housing, right? Like in many ways, this is the largest consumer product, right, that exists. And yet, how are we really innovating and pushing forward on the product and service? And I would just say like that thought has like gotten under our skin and people like the JWB team's skin, where it's like, you can't see it the same way. Once you hear it that way and you're like, okay, like we can work together to make this better and make improvements. And I think that's a lot of kind of what motivates us is the expectations for residents of what they expect from their housing experience continues to go up, and great companies, right, are figuring out how to exceed that, right, to meet those expectations and exceed them. Because when you do, that's how you win. That's how you win customers. That's how you keep customers. And I love what JWB teaches about, hey, making money in real estate. A huge key to winning in the SFR game is retention, right? Is retention. Because if you can attract the best residents, if you can keep the best residents, right? If you can make them happy and exceed their expectations, they're going to be more cooperative. And you need some of their cooperation, right? And at key moments and key times that help drive the value of your investment, then that's huge. And you have a relationship built on trust. And I just want to, because I will probably forget, I want to say this, which is Second Nature works with thousands of property management companies all over the nation. And there's thousands more we don't work with yet. But JWB, like of all the companies we see, even the companies that we work with, they really are sincere about building an incredible relationship. It goes far beyond what Second Nature does and what we do with JWB. It's how they're answering the phone, like being there when it counts. It's all of these different moments, and every one of those moments is an opportunity to meet or exceed a customer's expectation. And that's the key to winning in the experience game. That's the key to winning in retention, which again is a real key to winning in the investment game, if that's what you're here to do. And so I just wanted to add that to what Greg shared.
Thank you, buddy. I mean, I got to say, if there are any property managers on the call and you're not working with Second Nature yet, you should be making a phone call to Second Nature. You know, in addition to the shared beliefs that we have as companies, Second Nature provides the tools to be able to put these thoughts and plans and beliefs into action. And I'm sure we'll get into more and more of how they've been able to help JWB. Yeah. But what Second Nature does is it is that third-party company from us that operates under a common set of core values and allows us to deliver this wonderful resident experience. And that's why all of your investments are working.